The Louis Vuitton bag mocked me from the shadows of our walk-in closet. Sleek. Monogrammed. $8,900 carved out of our joint account like a wound that wouldn't clot. I ran my hand across the leather, and my stomach twisted. Tuition for our daughter's preschool was due next month. I had reminded him. I had budgeted. And still, here it was. I tried to keep my voice calm when I confronted him that evening. "Babe, maybe you should return it? We've got tuition coming up and—" He cut me off with that laugh. That hollow, echoing laugh that bounced through our marble foyer like it belonged to someone who owned me. "Relax. It's a client gift. The firm will reimburse us." But later that night, when he was asleep, I found the receipt tucked in his suit jacket. And there, like poison on paper, were the words that made my blood run cold. Authorized user, Danica Whitmore. That name, I knew it. I'd seen it once before. On the guest log at his gym, and again, scrolling through our Lyft history, rides to the West Village every Thursday night. I couldn't sleep. Instead, I sat in the glow of our kitchen island lamp, scrolling through statements I'd ignored for years. $12,000 at Tiffany's, $4,200 at Equinox. Luxury brands, hotels, charges I never signed for, and every single one tied to her Amex card. When I texted our accountant at 2:47 a.m., my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. "Why am I listed as secondary on our accounts?" His reply came 10 minutes later. "You've always been secondary, per James's request." I froze. Secondary, not equal, not a partner, just a passenger in the life I thought we built together. I looked over at our daughter's frozen nightlight glowing down the hall. My heart ached with something deeper than rage. That was when I started screenshotting everything. Every line item, every suspicious transfer, every missing dollar. By dawn, I had a folder of evidence and a truth I could barely process. 3 hidden mortgages on our home, 2 LLCs named after his dead cousin. And worst of all, a $500,000 life insurance policy with Danica Whitmore listed as the sole beneficiary. I confronted him over pancakes that morning, because that's what our life looked like on the outside. Perfect family breakfasts with maple syrup and cartoon pajamas. My hands trembled as I asked, "Who's Danica?" The fork clattered from his hand, syrup dripping onto the table. He cleared his throat, trying for nonchalance. "She's my paralegal. She handles my expenses." Before I could answer, our toddler spilled juice across his phone. The screen lit up, and there it was. Another betrayal flashing in neon letters. "Baby girl, the wire cleared. See you in Zurich." The walls closed in. Zurich. Wire. Baby girl. That afternoon, I hired a forensic accountant. I told him to dig until there was nothing left but bone. Within a week, the numbers painted a nightmare. My husband had funneled $2.3 million into offshore accounts, backdated to the week of our wedding. The final blow came with a line item I couldn't stop staring at. Our daughter's trust fund, her future, her safety net, everything we had promised her, emptied to purchase a diamond ring. Not for me, for Danica, his fiancée. I was numb, but numbness hardens into fury. Fury gives you clarity. 1 week later, I walked into his law firm. My heels echoed against marble, matching the racing of my pulse. The receptionist's smile faltered when I asked for him. "Mr. Carter's in a client meeting," she whispered. But then I heard it, her laugh, Danica's giggle seeping through the crack in his office door like smoke. I didn't knock. I kicked it open. Her swollen belly pressed against my husband's tailored suit. My breath left me in a rush. "Surprise," he sneered, his eyes cold. "What are you going to do? Evict us? Good luck. Your name's on nothing." For a second, I almost believed him. Almost. Until the door behind me opened again. The sound of polished shoes, the rustle of official jackets. SEC agents poured in, badges flashing. "James Carter, you're under arrest for securities fraud and embezzlement." He barely had time to curse before they cuffed him. I stood frozen, clutching the accountant's report in my hands. My name was still trembling on the page. Mrs. Carter, he's been bankrupting you since 2015. Danica screamed as they dragged him out. I turned to her, my fury cold and sharp now. And you, I said, voice steady, are about to get a paternity suit you can't outrun. Her mouth fell open, but I was already gone. House felt cavernous after they took him. Every corner whispered betrayal. Every wall seemed to echo with the lie of a life I thought was mine. But grief wasn't going to save me. Action would. Within days, subpoenas landed like grenades. His firm cut him loose, partners scrambled to distance themselves, and I sat through deposition after deposition, piecing together the ruins. Each document revealed how methodical his treachery was. Fake charities with glossy websites, forged signatures that even my handwriting had been mimicked for. Shell corporations stretching from Delaware to the Cayman Islands. The shocker? His parents. They had signed off on documents years ago, funneling money through family trusts. And in the trial that followed, the truth scorched the courtroom. They had known about Danica for years. Known she carried not one, but two of his children. I sat in the witness chair, fists curled tight, while Danica waddled past me, her smug smile painted in designer gloss. She thought she was walking into a new empire. Instead, she was walking into an inferno. The prosecution built its case with surgical precision. Fraud, embezzlement, racketeering, every charge stacked higher than the last. I testified, voice steady, recounting years of financial sleight of hand that had disguised his betrayal. Every bank statement became a dagger, every screenshot a bullet, but I wasn't just there to watch him fall. I was there to make sure she, Danica, fell with him. My lawyer filed a paternity suit mid-trial. The judge's gavel cracked like thunder when she learned that the funds stolen from our daughter's trust had gone straight to Danica's engagement ring. Suddenly, the courtroom no longer saw her as a victim. She was an accomplice. On the stand, she cracked. The lies tumbled out, each one worse than the last. Trips to Zurich, spa weekends at my expense, luxury condos in her name that he had bought with embezzled funds. Her hands trembled as she clutched her belly, realizing the golden cage she thought she'd built was nothing but rusted bars. When sentencing day came, the room was packed. Reporters filled the back rows, pens poised like bayonets. My ex-husband, once the golden boy of his firm, shuffled in wearing an orange jumpsuit. His eyes sought mine, desperate, pleading, but I didn't flinch. Instead, I rose slowly, the click of my heels echoing through the silence. Draped across my shoulder was the very Louis Vuitton bag that had sparked it all, the one he bought her, the one that betrayed him. I stood at the podium, the weight of every woman deceived pressing on my spine. My name is Emily Carter, I began, my voice ringing clear, and I am here because the man I trusted with my life spent a decade dismantling it piece by piece. He stole from me. He stole from our child. He tried to erase me. But here's the thing about erasure. Women like me, we don't disappear. We rise. I leaned forward, brushing the smooth leather of the bag. This costs less than your freedom. Gasps rippled through the room. Even the judge's eyes softened for a fraction of a second. Then her gavel struck down with finality. James Carter, I sentence you to 7 years in federal prison. I exhaled, a weight lifting from my chest. It wasn't the end, but it was a start. As for Danica, the judge's words cut sharper than any blade. Ms. Whitmore, you are hereby ordered to repay $1.1 million siphoned from fraudulent accounts. The courtroom tittered when the restitution source was revealed, her OnlyFans earnings. The empire she mocked me with became her punishment. Freedom tasted different after that. I sold the mansion, his shrine to excess. Every chandelier, every Italian marble tile, every piece of furniture that whispered his name went on auction. The funds went toward a new home, a brownstone in Brooklyn, Deed signed in my name alone. I changed the locks, changed my number, changed my hair. Each transformation shedding the skin of the woman who once believed love meant blind trust. But the biggest change? My daughter's future. I rebuilt her trust fund, brick by brick, every dollar a promise that she would never pay for her father's sins. Months later, I found myself standing in front of a lecture hall at NYU, invited to speak about financial literacy and marital fraud. Rows of women leaned forward, their pens scratching furiously as I told them my story, not as a victim, but as a survivor. To every woman auditing her love story, I said, my voice unwavering, run the numbers, check the statements. Don't confuse luxury with loyalty, because the truth always adds up, if you're brave enough to look. When I walked out of that lecture hall, dozens followed me. They wanted to audit, they wanted to dig, they wanted to rise. And that's when I knew. He thought he'd destroyed me, but in reality he had built me into something unbreakable. I am no one's secondary. I am the authorized user of my own life. If this story moved you, hit subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take.